For Cybercrime Radio, I'm your host, Sam White. I attended Black Hat USA 2026, where we caught up with executives from leading companies across the industry, including Mend.io. CEO Cohen spoke to us about AI, which was one of the hottest topics at this year's event, and how it is influencing AppSec, as well as what it looks like from the CISO's perspective.
I think that this is to the point. I think that our entire market, what is we call the traditional AppSec market, where companies or security teams were focusing on the application side for decades, right, changed dramatically with AI in the few years or year and a half that just passed. I think that the most significant point in here, and I think you mentioned it as well, is that for the first time, the same tool on one hand help the attackers as well as the preventers, right? So this has never happened like that, right? We always been in a situation where you either had created an amazing protection tools, security tools, and attackers were behind, or the other way around. But it never been in a situation where single technology, basically armed both sides, and this race is a new thing that we have to deal with, as well as with a few new characteristics that change the approach to application security, knowns, unknowns. So this is a moving target, actually.
So Ozzy, risk has moved beyond code into interaction beyond applications, AI models, agents, and runtime behavior. How are security programs holding up in response?
Okay, this is an amazing question because it's not only that the risks shifted, but also authorities and how security organizations are structured have to adopt to the same changes. So, I think that once more you touched that point in the question, right, that you mentioned. AppSec people used to live in deterministic world. You write the code, obviously there are flaws there, vulnerability flows, and they are either in or out. It's black and white kind of a thing. It's either reachable or not, and it's a very deterministic world. The inclusion of AI into the same application, and when you ask ChatGPT or any LLM a question and you repeat it tomorrow, you'll get different answer. So suddenly, the teams are facing a non-deterministic world where many of the issues that could look now okay in runtime could be not okay, and therefore they've extended to test their tests beyond what they traditionally used to do, which is on the pre-production stage. Just look at it, find the flaws, fix them, and you know that you're good to go. And here you really have to start testing the real-time behavior of the same application, which is something that was never before in the hands of what we call AppSec people, or the people that take care of the application security. So the end result is that we see that the borderline between pre-production, post-production security, right, is starting to become blurry. Application security people need to reach out to see what's going on in the runtime side in order to make sure that things are being fixed on the left side, on the code itself, but also other vendors that traditionally never went to look at the core reason for a flaw or for vulnerability. They have to now also look back and see, hey, what caused that? So this is a major shift. This is a major shift in the industry itself, in the roles and responsibilities of the different teams within security, with the type of tools that people are looking for. You cannot now lean on one set of tools that will fit here, another there. It's a new combination, and I think that the winner here will be two types of companies from the vendor side, those that will realize where are the new boundaries and will make sure that the clients that usually would like to lean on a single vendor, right, or minimum number of vendor, will come a full solution from start to end that can address their needs. And from the buyer side, those that will be smart enough to make the needed changes in their own organizational structure, I mean security, in order to make sure that they can leverage such technologies and new approaches.
So Ozzy, the organizations that come out ahead in this race won't be the ones with the most sophisticated analysis, will they? What will define those organizations?
Good, this is great. It's actually follow up for what I just said. So the reality, and this is the known side, right? And there are a few things that are unknown. The known is that organization 2026 and on will have to deal with more vulnerabilities, and they will have to take care of them faster. So if today a traditional organization have this pipe of finding, reviewing and fixing, tomorrow they have a pipe 5 times more wider that have to move faster through this entire cycle. And then we discussed earlier that some of the things will shift across different teams. So I think that organization. So it's not about only technology. It's only about adopting the right processes that will allow you to move this production line from problem to solution and from fixing to detection faster, respond faster, and do it in the right place in the right way. Because you're not going to fix everything all the time. You have to focus on the right time. So being able to be nimble, agile, run fast, do the analysis fast, not only on the technology side, but also organizationally with the right people in the right places. This will be the winner in the in this race. And it is a complicated task for organization as well as vendors.
And is there anything else you'd like to add?
Sure. So, a few words about Mend, right? So Mend traditionally grew up from the AppSec world, right? And we provided the entire suite of stuff that typical client use, and we have thousands of clients using us around the world. All our clients are coming with the same questions right now. Okay, we know that those tools are out there, then we know that there'll be more vulnerabilities, we know that we have to treat them. How do we do it safely? As a company, we have knowns and we have unknowns, and we try to handle that in such a way, in transparent way, where we work in partnership with our clients. We come to them and say, here's what we are doing. We are providing you a wider pipe, right? That will allow you to do everything faster, etc. But we're not 100% sure. The market is moving so fast. So we are sitting with our prime clients, get feedback. We actually change our strategy every 3 months. Well, not change, but adapt it based on the changes in the market. And I think that this is the way to go. And at least to the best of my understanding, clients today that come to Mend can extend their solution beyond the traditional AppSec to the new world. They can reassign roles and tactics to new teams that can join. We meet with a lot of CISOs here in the event and other places to get their feedback. And in my opinion, this is what I call the new vendor. The new vendor is not a vendor, is a partner that sits with the client, hear what they have. They're as smart as we are as smart as they are, and just with that build the next generation solution that will last for decades.
Also at Black Hat was Mend's EVP of Product, Asaf Saar. He joined us to discuss another heavily discussed topic at this year's event, AppSec in the boardroom. Historically, vulnerability counts don't always resonate with the board, but trend lines and plans do. We asked Saar how AI and agentic risk can be reframed in the way executives already think about financial and operational risk.
So I think if you look at it from the angle of a CFO, right, when he walks into the boardroom, they don't ask him like how many transactions we have closed, right? How are we solvent? What is our trajectory? What is our plan? And do we have a plan, right? Same should be with vulnerabilities or issue security stuff, right? It's not like you come with numbers. Numbers doesn't do anything. You need to come with a plan. What is the current situation? What's the risk level, right? And risk level is becoming crazy these days, right? It's really hectic. The numbers just growing. So don't show up with any number. Show the level of risk. What is the challenges where we are exposure? What is our vulnerability? And what is the plan to resolve it and get into a better position, right?
And Asaf, why does fear-based framing backfire? And maybe what would you recommend in its place?
So fear will give you some budget for one time. It will not really create a plan in the long term, right? So you need to come up with a plan, not to just based on fear. What is, again, visibility, transparency, the level of exposure that you have today, the level of risk, and how you are really taking that forward. So fear will just do a one-time situation, and that's not what the board is looking for, right? They look for a roadmap and a plan and really trajectory. Where we are today, if we are in a red state, how we get to green, how you are building that in phases. Fear doesn't really help anything.
And now, Asaf, talk to us now about the principles and decisions behind building AI governance internally. Where do we draw the lines on agent autonomy?
That's a very good question, and I'll tell you how we are doing that at Mend, right? So we look at this situation and we wanted to introduce a lot of AI capabilities and really to empower teams and make them more efficient going forward. So we build our own system internally. It's kind of like we are walking the talk, not just securing AI agents, but we are also doing that internally within ourselves. So we have introduced a system which is an agent for each employee, and this agent really living in an environment where it is contained, it has access, and we really monitor the agent so the agent will not go wrong, or the agent will act on himself, right? Go like I call it the confused deputy, is accessing system which was not. And we know what happened right a few weeks ago with OpenAI and Hugging Face. Situation agent got a task, it acted on the task, right? It didn't act malicious or something of that sort. It just got an exam which it needed to complete, and eventually for 6 days running into production systems, and Hugging Face detected it. It's not OpenAI. So you need to have the right governance, and you need to have the right systems, and ensuring that you are really testing everything that is possible, not just on the code level, because AI is not living there, it lives in the runtime. So that's how we are running that internally, and that's what we are kind of like delivering also to the market and to our customers.
According to Saar, another important topic to discuss was the transition from vulnerability management to exposure management.
It is important to talk about because the level of code that is being introduced these days is going dramatically higher than what it used before, right? So we see today code is like the level of code that is being developed and introduced in the application is going 10 to 15 times more than it was before. So if you just look at numbers before, the numbers scale and it means nothing, right? So you really need to look at that from the angle of what is the exposure, what is your level of risk, and how you are going to mitigate. Not just talk about numbers, about risk level. This is the most important part.
Asaf, a popular question among execs is, how many vulnerabilities do we have? Why is this the wrong question to ask, especially once agents and MCP servers are involved?
It is important because agent and MCP live in runtime, right? So whatever you will do in your code will not affect how the agent is actually working in runtime. And so you need to come at that on the runtime angle and look at that from red teaming angle, from penetration, for guardrail, the different activity that's actually happening, which is different than the traditional 10,000 CVEs that you might need to face and handle. So it's completely different discussion that you need to handle today.
So what actually predicts risk instead?
So what produces risk is the level of risk that you have, right? So we see that the amount of risk 0 days is growing dramatically today. So 0 days is something that you need to handle way more than whether something is really affecting you. You need to talk about whether an issue is reachable, whether it's exploitable, and what is the business context and how the risk is there.
And once a team adopts this lens, what changes operationally?
It changes us how you are looking and defining your security strategy, right? How you build a plan, how you are executing at that. And you need to look at it from a different angle. We look at the AppSec, the traditional AppSec with SEA and SaaS, right? Infrastructure and code, containers and such. And then comes the AI capabilities. Again, this is runtime. It's guardrail, it's red teaming, it's prompt injection, and jailbreaking, right? This is a completely different angle that you need to plan and act upon. I think we all saw what happened in the last couple of weeks, right, with OpenAI and Hugging Face, and this is something that you need to understand, that the models are becoming super strong, right, and the model are able to go two ways, right? You are utilizing those, and everyone is utilizing those. We're super happy to use those models to build better software, but it also can utilize in order for security vulnerabilities and such. So you need to look at that from a different angle, and independence is super important. Not just ensuring that the same models are testing itself, so like the auditor is the one that is grading itself. Rather, you need an independent layer to look at it from a different angle to really cover the whole estate.
For Cybercrime Radio, I'm Sam White. This episode was brought to you by Mend.io, whose mission is to make application security frictionless for developers and scalable for security teams without compromise. To learn more about our sponsor, visit Mend.io. And for more of our media, visit our website at cybersecurityventures.com.